Can you hear that? Can you hear that one?
It's a bit quiet. That was a bit quiet.
You can hear this one?
Yes.
But you can't hear this one?
I can shout, no.
We'll pass.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. Oh, I don't know.
Same effect.
Isn't it? It's cutting edges.
Forget what you just saw. It's an illusion. Okay, thank you everyone for coming to the MUSTO stand.
Cheers.
Welcome to London Boat Show. And to continue our brand ambassador programme for the week, we have Annie Lush today. I'll introduce you in a second. Tomorrow we've got Pete Clement, who's standing there in the blue jumper, just to embarrass him a little bit. The next stage of it is going to be introducing Annie Lush. Annie Lush is a brand ambassador of ours for the last few years, and of course part of our ongoing ambassador programme. We're constantly expanding the amount of sailors that we work with at a professional level, at a very high level of competition. And we've invited Annie today to come and talk about her career thus far, which I think we're all quite very well learned on, and the rest of this year, which is rather exciting for Annie. I think you've got the clicker, haven't you? Go on, click through. So, is it working? It's not working. We're going old school. There's Annie and all her great things that she's done. 3 times three times women world match racing champion, 2012 Olympian, Team SCA at the last Volvo Ocean Race, and 2016 World Match Racing Tour competition. Annie, now this is all really, really impressive, but you need to do something with the rest of 2017. So do you want to talk us really quickly through what your kind of calendar looks like for the rest of this year?
Yeah, so following on from the Volvo Ocean 2014-2015 with Team SCA, unfortunately SCA was no longer with us, but you know that gave us new opportunities to work with new sponsors, i.e. MUSTO. And really during the 2014-2015 race, we managed to win a leg towards the end of the race, but it was a big struggle for us. We're the first women to compete in the Volvo Ocean race for 12 years. We had some girls on board who had been in the Volvo Ocean race before, but that had been 12 years previously, very different kind of boats. We struggled, we didn't have enough experience, and we had a lot of learning to do. But I think the big thing we realised as we were going around the world were how many supporters we had. And actually, when we first arrived in Cape Town on the first stopover, I had no idea what the Volvo Ocean race was about. You know, we got to our first stopover having been 30 days at sea, and there were hundreds and hundreds of supporters wearing Magenta, which is our team colour on shore, and that just grew and grew through the race. And I think what we realised through the race was that it sort of became a bit more than just a sailboat race for us. We had women writing to us from all over the world telling us how they were inspired to do something else, to challenge themselves from what we were doing. Luckily, by the end of the race, we also managed to step up our performance as we learned how to race the boat, and coming to Lorient to win that race, or to win that leg of the race, was really important because we could finally prove that we had made it and that we could compete against these guys in these kind of boats. Unfortunately, after the end of the race, SCA left us, but we knew that we wanted to carry on, and we actually hadn't fallen out as a team, amazingly. 11 girls in a very small black boat, but we kind of stayed friends, and we wanted to keep going together. So we formed the Magenta project, and really our goal is to see more women in the professional sailing world and to see women getting to the top. I think now there's lots of girls sailing. It's fantastic at a youth level. You see loads of girls out there racing, and then as you sort of go further and further up into the professional sailing world, you see less and less. And we don't really want it to happen again, that you have to wait another 12 years until there's girls in the race and then they've got to start learning all over again. So we formed the Magenta project at the beginning of last year. It's been a rocky path. We are sailors. I don't think we're experts in raising money and marketing. I think I spend as much of my time now trying to create slides and videos as I do sailing. There's a bit of a learning experience, as maybe you've just seen, but we're getting more professional. But last year we managed to convince the World Match Race Tour to change their rules and change it from being a number of crew on board the M32 catamaran to being a weight limit. And that's really important for us because for us and for smaller men, because it means that you can make up the numbers. So rather than racing with 4, you can go to 5, and that allows us to compete. So we raced on the World Match Race Tour last year. We were the first ever female team to have a tour card. I was racing against Pete here. He mainly beats us, but sometimes I think we gave him a run for his money. And yeah, I mean, a massive learning experience again for us. We didn't really have any catamaran sailors on board. You know, we couldn't just buy in some girls that had been out there racing on GC32s or the Extreme Sailing Series, because there aren't any. So we sort of had to start from the beginning. So we raced on the tour last year, and by the end of last year we also managed to convince the Extreme Sailing Series to change their rules, and we got to race in Lisbon on the circuit. And of course, at the end of last year, Volvo Ocean Race announced that they were going to change the Volvo Ocean Race rules for a mixed team to try and encourage more female participation in the Volvo Ocean Race. So big steps, and yeah, hoping that in October we'll see quite a lot of girls on the start line. So I'll hand back over. So this is our M32 team racing this year on the World Match Race Tour, and we're going to be on it again this year. As you can see in our nice shiny MUSTO kit, but I think what's been really important for us working with MUSTO is that, you know, they're trying to develop products for women. We do have a bit different body shape and different needs, and so they've been working with us on products and products for sailing high performance boats, because if you look at quite a lot of the ranges of women's sailing clothing, then it's maybe aimed at kind of cruising around as a day sailor, which is fine, but we're trying to be out there racing the guys in foiling boats. You need protection, you need very good suits, and you know, MUSTO, I think it's going to be revealed at the boat show, dinghy show in March.
Dinghy show in March.
Okay, but
dinghy show in March.
But you know, they have a fantastic range of foiling suits with padding, and yeah, well, certainly makes me a little bit braver on board the boat. But I think beyond just us going racing, the Magenta project is really about the future. I'm starting to feel a bit old. I think Pete and I are some of the oldest crew on the World Match Race Tour currently. Sorry, Pete. Yeah, there's, you know, sort of, there seems to be more around 25, 30 to be able to run around these catamarans. But no, I mean, in seriousness, it's not really about us, and I don't think the Magenta project will necessarily advantage the girls from my generation, but it's to make sure that the new generation coming through, that they sort of don't have the same hurdles we have. And so, whilst we've been racing this year on the World Match Race Tour, we've also been trying to encourage lots of sort of the next generation of women into fast foiling and non-foiling boats. This photo is from a clinic we ran in Sweden in the M32. A lot of very excited girls. In fact, I think we only announced that we were going to run the clinic about a week and a half before it happened. And we had a couple of girls fly from Brazil, we had someone fly from Portugal, from Finland. In fact, one girl, we told her we didn't have space for her, and she just drove down from Finland and said, oh, well, I'm here now, and I need to come and sail. So I think something that we've seen this year through the project is how much these girls really want these opportunities. So later in the season, we were lucky to, again, borrow a GC32 and run a clinic for girls on the foiling boats. You could go on to the next one again. But it's not only about those girls. I mean, those girls are already quite advanced in their sailing. But of course, I think if we want to see a change in the sport, then it's got to start right from the bottom. And wherever we go in the M32 and wherever we go when we're racing, we're trying to make sure that we go into schools, we go into yacht clubs, and we're talking to the young girls as well, and the boys, not just the girls. This is a Magenta Day that we held at a yacht club. Don't know if anyone here is from Poole, but we ran a day at Parkstone Yacht Club, and we're going to be holding hopefully 6 more of these across the country this year. And again, it's just trying to get into the sort of more club level. It isn't just about the girls at the top, it's from the grassroots. So a lot of projects this year. This is us in Cowsweek, again collaborating with the Andrew Simpson Sailing Foundation, and trying to again reach a different group of girls through that project. So this year has been last year has really been, whatever opportunity we've had, we've tried to reach people through the project. Going into this year, we have a more sort of focused effort, and specifically with the Volvo Ocean Race, on the World Match Race Tour, and in the GC32.
You touched on it very briefly, but there are actually really, really important things that you said earlier. Like, you actually managed to change the rules of the race that's quite a modest thing, but the way you just touched upon it. But those are really, really big moves within the sailing industry to actually completely change the rules of the crew on the boat. How does that kind of resonate with you and the girls you work with, the guys at the Magenta project and everything like that? So kind of, that's one step, but do you have a vision for how you want to take the Magenta project further in the future? Are there more rules that you want to change? Is there more additions that you want to make? Is there anything that like is a thorn in your side at the moment that you want to change?
That's a good question. Well, I think firstly on the rules, I mean ideally there wouldn't need to be any rules because you know, the Volvo Ocean Race, for example, you just take the best sailors. I think at the moment we realise that there just aren't enough girls out there. There are plenty of female sailors, but they're not really known enough for guys' teams to necessarily take them on board. So that's why the Volvo Ocean Race, for example, put the rule in place. I mean, ultimately there wouldn't be a rule, but I think it's really positive that they've taken that step now. And it was sort of the same in the Olympics this cycle. I think a lot of people were against the NACRA being a mixed class and that being enforced. But actually it's been really positive, and now there's a whole load of girls out there who, you know, are good at driving and crewing in fast catamarans, so it's a big step forwards. But I suppose the thorn in my side, well, it's going to have to be the America's Cup. Yeah, there haven't been any women in the Cup for a long time. I know that currently the argument would be that those boats are way too physical. But as we all know, all sailors here, there's plenty of jobs that aren't that physical. And I think also something we're trying to prove, well, through the Volvo Ocean Race and on the M32 is that if you make the rules so that it's to do with weight rather than the number of people, then basically we just, you know, rather than having 100-kilo guy pulling a sheet, we have 2 girls on it. And it's quite hard to coordinate that. It involves a lot of organisation on board, and we spend a lot of time watching our manoeuvres and trying to work out how to make 2 smaller girls equal 1 big guy, but you can. It involves a lot of teamwork, a lot of communication, and generally quite a lot of GoPro videos where you just see people smashing into each other all the time until we work it out. But I think it is possible, and I think that the physical argument isn't a strong enough one for the Cup. So yeah. There's some fantastic female cat sailors coming out of the NACRA. We hope to get them into other foiling boats, and yeah, Russell Coots better beware. We're coming after him in the next Cup.
We're running another M32 video. Do you want to talk through it for us really quick?
Yeah, I think this video is just an example of what we've been trying to do on the tour, and kind of the realisation that, you know, we're pretty lucky. I've been a professional sailor or Olympic sailor for 15 years, travel around the world racing, and actually it doesn't take very much to give other people opportunities in the venues we visit. So this is in Newport. We're racing the M32 there, and you know, it was just a couple of hours of our day we got to take out some high school girls, but the response from that, I think that they made a video, they wrote an article, they did a school project on it, and now we're in contact with these 2 girls all the time, actually sort of mentoring them now in their future sailing. And actually it doesn't require that much effort when we go and visit new places and new countries to reach out to a few people and make quite a big difference. So this is just one of those examples, but what, you know, we hope going forward on the World Match Race Tour next year, but also in the Volvo Ocean Race, that, you know, not only will we be racing in it, but there's a bit more we can do in the stopovers to try and reach out and bring more girls into the sport.
Question. Obviously the Volvo Ocean Race is still yet to come later on this year. They've changed their rules. There's a big question mark whether you guys are actually going to do anything involved with that. There is some activity going to go on with you and the Volvo Ocean Race?
Yeah, well, after 2014-15, I mean, our goal was to try to keep our team going and to be in the next race as an all-girls team, because that was the only option at the time. The new rules have actually changed that, so, you know, now there is a stronger possibility to have a performance mixed team. I mean, that was the important thing for us, that, you know, we step up in performance in the next race, and the old rules meant that you wouldn't really have gone mixed because in terms of the weight it didn't work out, but now with the new rules you can. Unfortunately, we're just a bunch of sailors and not particularly good at selling things, it turns out. So we have put a lot of effort in this year into finding a sponsor, but unfortunately no one's giving us a cheque for 14 million yet, so that's still work in progress. No, but I mean, I hope with the new rule that we can join with some other teams, and as I said, also to activate in the stopovers, the M32 catamaran will actually be at all of the stopovers for corporate sailing. So we're currently working with Volvo Ocean Race on how we can do something in the stopovers with local girls in each stopover and take them out on the M32 and again sort of inspire them.
So you'll still be on the tour?
So hopefully we will still be involved in the Volvo Ocean Race, yeah, and I'm sure there will be some of us in the end.
Okay.
But the other thing that I think Mark Turner has some fantastic ideas, and it's been great to be able to sit down with him and talk through with him a longer term strategy for getting girls into the race and in professional sailing, and they've been really supportive. So hopefully in the middle of this year we're going to be running a clinic on a Volvo 65 specifically for girls to give them a chance to learn how to sail this kind of boat. And I mean, that's really aimed at, we have so many Olympic sailors writing to us. I mean, sometimes they're gold medalists, but they really don't know how to get onto performance keelboats. They sort of can't see any way forward. And I think if we can run a clinic in the 65, it will really give an opportunity to be able to, well, help those girls transition from dinghies into performance keelboat. And then hopefully when they get invited by some guys to come on board their Volvo 65, you know, they'll know how to load the winch and put the halyard on the lock and do some of the things that are involved in performance keelboats. So, yeah, hopefully we'll be announcing that clinic soon.
Thank you, Annie. If anyone wanted to ask Annie any questions, put your hand up. We can give you the microphone and you can shout really loudly down. If not, I'd like to thank Annie very much for coming by the stand and talking to us at Boat Show.
Or just drink a beer.
Yeah, like, there's so many, just keep going.
Take a bottle of wine, because there's too many of them.
Thank you. Yeah, what time? We didn't play any videos because we couldn't get the sound working. Are we still doing it live now? Is it still broadcasting? Oh, right, okay, cool. Stop talking.
I'll cut it now.